Hi, I'm Julie Carlisle from ThermoKitchen, and today we are making our delicious mango cheesecake. So this is a no-bake cheesecake, so it really couldn't be simpler. It's 3 layers of deliciousness. Okay, we are starting with a 20 centimetre diameter springform tin, and I have just used one of these inserts to poke into the bottom. And I'll just show you what I use. It's a pre-cut parchment. So these you can get from the mix shop. If you can't get one, all you need to do is just trace a circle around the outside and just leave some little wings on the end. It just allows you to pull the cheesecake out nice and easily. Okay, so that's all we need to do for that. And now it's time to get started. Okay, so the first step is the biscuit base. So we are going to grab our caster sugar and cinnamon and butter. So we've got 100 grams of salted butter. I do like salted butter. I think salt and sugar goes well together. And we are adding 1 tablespoon of caster sugar and half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Popping the lid on, and then we are heating for 2 minutes. For and just speed 1. That's just melting those together. Okay, now the biscuit crumb can use any sweet biscuits you like. Now usually I'll use Nice biscuits because they've got a bit of sugar and they're a plain biscuit. You can use digestive biscuits or milk coffee biscuits, whatever you like. Today I'm using gluten-free Scotch finger biscuits, and the reason I'm using these is my daughter's boyfriend is celiac and he would like to have some of this cheesecake, so I decided to make it with gluten-free Scotch finger biscuits so that he can have some. So you can very easily turn this into a gluten-free cheesecake. Okay, just adding the biscuits. That's 160 grams of sweet biscuits. And we're putting it on for 6 seconds. Speed 7. I'm just checking that. If it needs a little bit longer, we can repeat the process. But that looks fine to me. So there are our biscuits. Scooping that out, and then we'll press it down. Okay, that's pretty evenly distributed, so now I'm just going to use my hands to press that down. We want it to be pressed quite firmly because that's going to give the structure of our base. And if it's not firm, when we take it out of the tin, it's not going to hold together. Now, something I'm noticing with these biscuits is the Nice biscuits absorb the butter a lot better. Okay, so that's all pressed down into the tin nicely. So now it's time to put this into the fridge to set while we get onto our filling. Okay, so our next step is the filling. So the first thing we need to do is melt some gelatin. So we've got 125 grams of water. So I'm just going to pop the water in the Thermomix. And we need 4.5 teaspoons of gelatin. I'm just using the powder gelatin. So I'm just going to pop this in the water, and I'm avoiding the blades, and I'm trying not to make it too pumpy as I put it in. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. Okay, I'm going to heat that for 1 minute, 100 degrees, speed 1. Okay, and that's just going to dissolve it and make sure that we don't have any lumps. We will actually go through though and check it again and squish out any lumps if there aren't any in there. And let's take a look. Okay, I can see 2 lumps. Just squish that against the water for 30 minutes. It's dissolved. Very good. And now we're going to mix this up. Speed 4, so 5 seconds speed 4. And that's just to absolutely make sure there's no lumps. Great. And now we're just going to add our filling ingredients. Okay, so we have juice of half a lemon, (500 grams of cream cheese). It's Philadelphia cream cheese, and it's a full fat cream cheese. Now that's cubed mango, so fresh mango. Nestle's condensed milk. Now I've got 120 grams of mango puree. So this is mango puree that you'll get in Indian stores. It comes in a can, and the reason I like adding that to the cheesecake, it goes on the top as well in a jelly form, is because sometimes you'll find that the mango cubes that you get aren't as sweet as you might like, and it just gives a consistent flavour to the mango cheesecake. Okay, so we've got all that in, and now we're going to combine for 1 minute, speed 6. Just going to sprinkle that down because that might have some of the gelatin still on the top. Wow, it smells nice and mango-y as well. I'll just give you a look. So there we go there. Now I'm going to give that one more go around. It's just 10 seconds, 6. Great. And now this filling goes into our base. So just grab that. The puree also gives it a much more orangey flavour, an orangey colour as well. It's a much richer colour, whereas the pulp can be all different colours of orange. Okay, pour that in. just going to give this a smooth over because we still have the gel topping to go. Get any air bubbles out. There we go, and then back in the fridge. So you see it's been quite quick so far. Okay, next step is the gel topping. Okay, so I have a teaspoon of gelatin powder here. Just grabbing 1 tablespoon of water and adding that to the teaspoon of gelatin. Mixing that around a little. And I'm going to pop it in the microwave just for a couple of seconds. Okay, that looks to all dissolve. Now people always ask me when I use the microwave or something else, why I didn't use the Thermomix. And the reason is just I always go for the easiest appliance possible. And yeah, the microwave is the obvious choice there when we're using something so little. Okay, now we're adding the gel to 170 grams of mango puree. Now this is the same mango puree that I used before. It's one that you get from an Indian store. Now the mango puree that you get there, they use for all sorts of things. They use for desserts, they use for mango, I don't know how to say it. They use it for mango lassi, they use it for mango chicken, they use it for all sorts of things. And it's absolutely delicious. And in our mango cheesecake, it's absolutely perfect. And it is a sweetened mango, I will admit that. But you know, this is a dessert, so you kind of have to expect a bit of sweetening. Okay, so that's just our topping done. Our cheesecake again. Now I do want to clean up the edges here so that it looks a bit tidier. Because if I pour the topping over here, it's going to get onto the filling that's on the sides, and that's not going to look as pretty. Now once this gel has set, we will be doing another layer, which will be a Chantilly cream and then a fresh mango and passion fruit topping. So we're not finished yet, but we will have to wait for our gel layer to be set. So we're not done yet. This is just preliminary. So see why it was important that I actually spread out that filling, because if there was a high bit, we might have run over the edge of the tin. So I'm just going to tip slightly that way. There we go. Okay, so we've got our gel layer on top. Now this goes in the fridge to set, so this will go in the fridge probably for about 6 to 8 hours, and then all of the layers will firm up. And then we'll start with our Chantilly cream and our mango, passion fruit and blueberry layer until our cheesecake looks like a magnificent centerpiece. Okay, we are ready to garnish our mango cheesecake. It is the following day. We have left the cheesecake in the fridge overnight. It is always best to leave the cheesecake overnight if you possibly can. It just allows it to set properly, making it much easier to get out of the spring form tin. Okay, so we are making a Chantilly cream. So I'm going to swipe across and put the scales on. We're using 300 grams of cream. So just pouring in 300 grams. There we go. One tablespoon of caster sugar. And a teaspoon of vanilla paste. Okay, we're adding the butterfly to the TM bowl and giving it a quarter turn and popping the lid on. Now with the butterfly, we don't go over speed 4. When I'm mixing cream, I like to mix at 3.5, just so that I can keep an eye on the cream. We never know exactly how long cream is going to take to whip. It does depend on the cream itself and it changes every time. So we do have to keep a good eye on the cream when we are whipping it. So back to home, and I'm just going to put 3.5 on the blade speed, and I'm going to lift the MC up and just keep an eye on that until it looks to be mixed. Okay, I've just turned it down to 3 and then turned it off, and I'll take a look. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, so that's what it's looking like there. Just have a bit of a look. So I want it so that it will hold peaks. I don't want it to be slushing all over the cheesecake. I think that's good. So I'll take the butterfly out. And I have my cream ready. Okay, now time to have a look at our mango cheesecake. And here it is. Now you could always serve this cheesecake just how it is. You've got 3 beautiful layers, and it looks quite delicious exactly how it is at the moment. But to make it a little bit more special, we're going to decorate it. So now it's a big test. I might just run a knife around the gel layer just so that it separates nicely and doesn't tear. Okay. And release the spring form. Okay, it's coming away from its edges. Oh, it's always nerve-wracking, especially in front of a camera. Okay. And now it's time to decorate. So with the cream, I like to leave a border of orange around so that we can see the orange. Now I probably could have worked this a little bit more, but I don't like to go too far. Once you go too far, there's no coming back. Okay. And then we'll just tease a bit of it out. Very nice. Now we've cubed some mango, some fresh mango. Pop that in the middle. And again, we want to see some of the cream poking out, so we've got that white contrast. Okay. And some passion fruit. The passion fruit really does give some spark to this cheesecake. So I absolutely think that you've got to have it. It really gives a lot of tropical flavoring to the cheesecake. Plus, I mean, it looks really nice over the top. Okay. A little bit more height with our mango. And then I'm adding some blueberries just for the colour contrast as well. And of course, because blueberries are delicious, but I think that it really adds something special to the finished cheesecake. You don't need too many. And there we go. And that was a pretty simple dessert. The hardest part was probably getting it out of the tin, and ordinarily that's not too difficult. Just those gluten-free biscuits didn't hold together as well as the regular sweet Nice biscuits do. But there you have it, a mango cheesecake. Full of mango flavours and lovely and easy, and a very dramatic dessert for your next treat. So I'm Julie Carlisle from ThermoKitchen, and thank you for joining me. Don't forget to keep an eye out for my next creation. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to join me on our ThermoKitchen Facebook group. Happy cooking!